Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Skagit Storytellers. This episode was recorded in late December. Thanks to Jim for trusting me with his story. I had a really great time. My plan was to not release any more episodes until I set up the new studio, but we're in this awkward waiting phase with the house, and I'm getting really antsy. And the only work we really need to do around here is to just keep it somewhat tidy. So I decided to look back at a few episodes that I had recorded in late 2023 and see if I could publish something. I'm really excited to sell the farm and buy a new home that Olive, Riley, Spencer, and I can create memories in. We don't know where we're going to live yet, but it will be somewhere in the valley, and it's going to have a jam room or a garage because Olive's band, After School Detention, has added a new keys player. So those practices will definitely need to start back up again. Speaking of great music, there are, as always, way too many shows to mention in one intro, but I'm going to highlight a couple that I'm going to be heading to. So this Friday, April 12th, Zach Michaud is playing at the Lyman Tavern. That's all ages, and he's recording that one. So come on out and yell something profane that might show up on his new album. Saturday, April 20th, Tim Meckling is playing tracks from his album, Vandal Hands of Man, at the Muse. Tickets are still available, but like a lot of shows recently at the Muse, it will sell out. So make sure you get your tickets now. And I'm really excited for this one. Pavlov Jones and Fanny Alger are playing at the Old Edison on May the 4th. Last but not least, it's the Mountain Film Festival in Concrete from April 18th until the 21st. There's a lot of talks and films that are films being shown over those 4 days, but one I wanted to highlight, I'm emceeing the film on Friday night, April 19th. The film is called Dream a Team, and it's a documentary about Dreama Walton. She's an ultra runner, a vet, full-time mom, and the documentary follows her Western States attempt. It's a 100-mile race in California. My friend Ryan's also in it, and it's awesome. So head to the Concrete Chamber of Commerce site for tickets. And, one more. There's a hub show on May the 18th, and that's with Ada Miller, District Forgotten, that's Colin's band, Lazy Acres, Nurhachi, and some band called Pretty Much Nothing. All right. That's it. Enjoy the episode. Have fun. And as always, go do something hard.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to one of the most northern parts of the United States of America. Travel with me upriver as we talk to a bunch of ladies and fellers and they share their tales of wit and wisdom. That's right, it's time again for Skagit Storytellers with Liz Rankin.
What's your name?
Well, my name is Jim, but most people call me Jim.
I asked about, hey, Jim's coming over. Any good stories or kind words? I'd appreciate it. And Jeremy said we were on the roof of the hub, you're already laughing, looking at the sky to see if the weather was going to hold off. Then a lightning bolt flashed, and Jim basically said, F this, and walked off the roof. I had to get a bottle of 126 proof whiskey to change his mind.
Well, and as I recall, the storm passed, so I came back up.
And was that for the opening of the hub?
I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the grand opening.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because it was great playing up there, but we're up here and the audience is way down there. Just like there's no connection.
Yeah.
People are probably got stiff necks looking up at us. I told him, I said, this is good, but let's not do this again.
Well, and I also saw the ladder.
Yes.
That you guys used to get up there.
And the thing is I packed my own amp up there and my
Oh my
my mandolin.
gosh.
But all the rest of it, it's a good thing we had Spencer. He's
Wait, he
animal.
took his drums up there?
He took his drums up there. He packed the speakers. Just like, I'm good. Go for it,
I didn't even
man.
think about the drum.
Yeah, well, the speakers, all the cables, the microphone stands, the
There's no
PA.
pulley system, just
No,
car-
no, it was it was the one up on the ladder.
and Jeremy's probably like, nobody take any video or photo evidence of this.
OSHA. No. What's that?
Whatever happens in concrete stays in concrete.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, and then there was a lady there,
okay.
and she was just passing through,
Yeah.
and she took a bunch of video
Oh.
of the whole thing, and she's got a podcast somewhere.
Oh, really?
And I don't know, I never heard anything more of it, but I know that there's a podcast out there with a video somewhere
Someone's making a
floating around.
documentary of,
It was just
to bring Jeremy down.
yeah.
No.
Well, no, I don't
No,
think
just
so.
kidding.
Just how cool concrete is.
But yeah, so people recommend people to me all the time, and you were probably one of my top recommendations. Oh, you got to have Jim on.
No.
I know I knew you were going to say that. So I always like to start with talking about how we met. Cheers. I mean, I'm sure I met you at the Hub at some point that first summer when I was working.
Either that or in the liquor store.
Yeah, and I told Jeremy I'm not working for you anymore, but I've said that like 4 times, and I always come back. So who knows? Once he gets those silos open, maybe I'll be working on those. I know, right? I don't know. I'll have
I
people
used to work in there.
in the silos.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you do in them?
Well, when I moved back into town, we had lived out on 530 for a while, and we moved back into town, the house we're in now, and I had been laid up from a logging accident, and I hadn't gone. I was just released to go back to work, and a friend of a lady that Elaine worked with at the restaurant, her husband was he was hired by the Lone Star Company to clean out the silos because they still had cement in them. And the railroad line still ran through there. And this was in 86.
So the railroad line would run through there and pick up cement?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and I had to go in the silo and take a long rod and with an air gun on the end of it and stick it into the cement to loosen it up and just give it bursts of air, right, to break it up so it would go down. They all had hoppers at the bottom, and then it'd go out and into the rail car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I spent 8 hours a day inside there.
That doesn't sound healthy.
Well, it wasn't. I had a respirator on, but still, it's not. I would go take a shower and my skin was just so dry.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I'd come home like Pigpen,
Yeah.
Should I go like this? And just clouds.
Okay, so how did you... now, Will gave me a story of how you got up here. Will, how does he say his name again? Honia, yeah.
I think.
He sent me a story of how you got up here, so maybe you can confirm if it's true or not.
I will, yes.
All right, so Jim is one of the OG back to the land hippies that came upriver in the early 70s. He homesteaded with family and kids just up the road past Illibot Creek Road from my place off 530. You should definitely pick his brain about that experience and era. Does that sound right?
Yes, that was later on though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I came up here in 1970. After I finished, I got out of the Army in 69, and my folks were in Illinois, so I went back there and spent the Christmas with them. And then I just drove all over the country visiting people that I knew and hadn't seen in years, or people that I met in the service. And I had a friend that lived in Cedar Woolley. And so I came up here in March of 1970, and I just never left because I loved it up here.
What'd you like about it?
Everything. The water, the mountains, the climate. I had lived in Albuquerque. I basically grew up in Albuquerque. And I love Albuquerque, but it's not this. I like, we lived back east when I was a real little kid, and all the green grass and stuff, and you don't get that in Albuquerque. So,
Oh, you don't?
yeah. So.
And so did you meet Elaine here? Is this where she's from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd you guys meet?
We met, it was in Cedar Woolley. I was in at a gas station, and she was there. We started talking, and one thing led to another.
And so you guys moved upriver in the 70s, or you said in.
Yeah, and I lived in Cedar Woolley for a while, and then I kept moving farther upriver.
Yeah.
and just because that's where the work was that I was looking for. I worked
so you were
for the
logging?
Forest Service.
Okay.
And then I worked for Scott Paper, which was right there in Hamilton. It used to be Scott Paper, and then it was I don't recall.
Was it like a pulp mill? Or?
No. It was a logging.
Oh, okay.
They logged, and for and that's where Janicki is now.
Oh, okay.
They bought that property.
Yeah.
But Scott Paper ran for years, and then they kind of went under, and they changed their name to something else, and I can't recall what that was. But then when the logging kind of went by the wayside, they folded that operation there. But I just kept moving farther upriver, and then I ended up logging.
Yeah.
For a number of different outfits.
And then you said you stopped because you got injured?
Yeah, I had a tree got pulled over on top of me in the hook tender.
Oh, man.
And it broke my foot, and I herniated 2 discs in my lower back. So the foot healed up, and I started walking around. I went, wait a minute, I can't hardly walk. What's going on? And so they checked it out, and I had a couple badly herniated discs in my lower back. And I went through a bunch of stuff with that. They wanted to do this chymopapane treatment, which is they inject papaya juice into the discs.
No.
To dry it up so it would shrink.
Oh.
And I had a feeling I didn't want to do that. And as it turns out, I had a friend that had that done, and he ended up having to have his joints fused together because it dried the disc up completely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what ended up helping? Did you have surgery? Or?
It wasn't bad enough for surgery.
Yeah.
It was just bad enough to where it would bother me all the time.
You're like, I'm just in pain all the time.
Yeah, well, that's it.
It is amazing what you get used to.
You learn to live with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And our backs are not very well designed anyway.
So then from logging, you said the silos, you were doing that for a while?
Yeah, and I only did that for a little while. And then I got a job out by the airport at this boat company. It was a fiberglass boat company. This guy had bought all the molds for glass ply. It was a little 16-foot runabout and a 19-foot cuddy cabin. And he was building those, and he says, what do you know about woodworking? I said, I know all kind, I can do anything, which I had no idea. But he took me on and showed me, he realized right, soon that I was, didn't know what I was doing, but he was good about helping me out and showing me what to do. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I worked there until he went under.
Yeah.
And then I worked for Nordic Tug for quite a while as a finish carpenter.
Okay.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
But, and that was basically the last 20 years of my working career was either boat shops or cabinet shops.
And how long have you been retired for?
12 years. I retired early because of my back. I'm 75 now, so.
Does Elaine keep you busy at home with projects?
She's real easy on me. She doesn't text me. But there's always something to do. You own a house, there's always something that's got to be worked on. And for a long time, after I was not working when I was retired, I built little plywood skiffs in the basement. And, I've done I did some cabinet work in RVs and stuff for people. And I don't
some
do
side
much of
jobs
that anymore. And I've built a few mandolins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And how did you get into that?
Well, I just wanted a mandolin, and I I actually got a kit. The first one I made was a kit.
Oh, you can buy kits. Okay.
Yeah. And anybody that wants to do that you should buy a kit and put it together.
I was thinking that Andre showed you how to do it. Doesn't Andre make...
Andres?
Or Andres, yeah.
Yeah. He builds fiddles.
Fiddles, okay.
Very nice fiddles.
Yeah. I saw some pictures. Tony sent them to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's in love with one of them.
Does it have his name on it?
Well, the thing about Andres is he builds like 5 a year or something, 4 to 6, somewhere in that range, depending. And he had 5 of them that he was going to take down to Oregon and show. And he likes to have them played in what's called the white before they're varnished and everything, so that if there's any adjustments, like thicknesses or any of that kind of stuff, he can take them apart and take care of that and put them back together. And so he had Tony come up to play some. I was amazed. I hear him play, bluegrass or rock and roll or whatever. He's playing some classical stuff. Just, whoa. Of course, he grew up, that's when he started playing. That's what he was learning. One of them was he really liked. And so Andres is keeping that. He's using it for a year. And then while he builds other ones, he's selling the rest of the ones he built. And then he'll use that one for a year. And then when he's done with it, he'll either sell it or sell it to Tony. Or the color wasn't quite what Tony likes, a darker fiddle. And this was a little bit lighter. So
what's the difference between a fiddle and a violin?
You don't play Bach on a fiddle.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, there's no difference.
Oh, okay.
At all.
Got
It's just what you play on it.
So we talked about your work experience and getting up here, but how did you get into music? Was it before you got up here? We know you're an athlete. You talked about your golf stardom.
Yes, I'm an athlete.
You're my 3rd golfer. Spencer, Trevor, and now you.
Sweet. Oh, well, we almost have a foursome then.
So remind me again, you're the state champ?
When I was a senior, Sandia High School in 1966, we were the state champions in Albuquerque, or in New Mexico. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you'll have to come out for...
I think I shot a 145, 148, something like that. It was just a few strokes over par.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. And we had a good team, though, too. So
did you play music in high school as well?
No. I sang in a choir when I was a kid in Plainfield, New Jersey, and I ended up I sang for President Eisenhower in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, along with 300 other kids. So it's like it wasn't a big deal.
Still pretty cool.
That's a good story.
Neat, yeah.
And then I played trumpet in band. In the 5th grade, I think it was.
Yeah, nothing stuck though.
No.
So what made you? Because you play a lot of music.
I do. And when I got out here, the people I was hanging out with played music. A lot of old Dylan and that kind of stuff, which I'd listen to all the time. And so I picked up guitar and I started playing. I played guitar for years and sang Dylan, Neil Young. I had a really good friend that lived in Anacortes, Bob Hollister, that was really good. And so we kind of strived to be like Bob,
Yeah.
And so I played a lot for a long time, and then when I had moved to Concrete, and we used to go up to this bar up there called the Fish Inn, which was kids could come in. It was grandfathered in for that, kids being allowed in.
Like,
there.
what building would that be in? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's up the road from the Rockport Bar and Grill.
Oh, okay. So out there.
If you go east, on that you come out of the parking lot and go east.
Yeah.
Just before you go around the corner, there's a building on the right.
Oh, okay.
And that was the Fish Inn.
Oh, okay.
And I could go in there and sit down with my guitar, and as long as I was playing, that my beer glass would always be full. Right?
Bottomless beer.
Yes,
Nice.
exactly.
Awesome.
And I met this guy, Terry Thomas, up there, and he was a flat picker. I don't know if you know.
No, what does that mean?
Well, it's like fiddle tunes and that kind of stuff on a guitar.
Okay.
With just a flat pick. And so I was learning. I was picking his brains for all I was worth.
Yeah.
And then we ran into this banjo player, Don Hitt. He started coming in. So basically, we were playing mostly bluegrass, and Terry said, "You need to learn the mandolin," and he was a much better guitar player than I was anyway. So I got a mandolin from somewhere, I don't remember, and started playing it, and it just seemed to click.
Yeah. So
we actually had a pretty good band for a while. We'd play a lot of bars. We had a bass player, John Ranchler. He was a music teacher in Concrete.
Okay. And so that was your first band?
Yeah,
Kinda,
really,
yeah.
the first real band.
What was your guys' name? Do you remember?
Redline.
Redline, okay.
Yeah. And we actually played Darrington.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the last year it was at the rodeo grounds.
Oh.
But we were minus our guitar player.
Yeah.
Because he had some problems with the Navy. I don't think he got out quite like he was supposed to.
Oh. They came looking for him.
Well, they didn't. He was on the list, and he had an accident. He rolled his car.
Wow.
And of course, the police report, and I guess they look for things like that.
Yeah.
They came to his door a couple days later and took him off. And this was like 2 weeks before the Bluegrass Festival.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We're going, what do we do now? So I was going to play guitar and would just be the three of us. And then John Parent, who lives on 530, almost about halfway into Darrington, really good fiddle player. A good mandolin player, a good guitar player, but mostly he goes by Fiddler John.
Okay.
Or he used to. But so we asked him, and I was going to play guitar because I knew all the songs and the chords and stuff. And he goes, "No, he just got this really nice Martin guitar." He says, "I want to play guitar." Okay. So we played the festival. We played Darrington. We did really good.
Yeah.
We had another festival in Coombs, which is up on Vancouver Island.
Oh, that's where I'm from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not Coombs, but about an hour south.
Yeah, it was great.
That's so funny you went to Coombs.
Awesome time. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Wait, were the goats on the roof then?
Oh, I don't.
Because they're famous for having goats on the roof.
That's right. I'd forgotten.
They just pee off the side. It's so I don't know why people like it. It's disgusting. It's so gross. They're either hiding or they're coming out to pee on your umbrella.
Goats, yeah. No, I'd forgotten.
It's a cool gimmick.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. We had a good time.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you were legally allowed to go to Canada because a lot of the musicians I talked to.
Yeah, although I had a close call earlier when we were me and three other guys went over there picking apples. So we got to the Canadian border, which is on the other side of the border, and they didn't like the looks of us. So they made us take everything out of the car. They sat us in the office. And it was kind of hairy because if they didn't let us in, we'd had to go back through the American border guards.
Yeah.
And we might have had some illegal.
Oh, and also this minor thing.
I'm not going to admit to anything, but it's possible that we had some contraband. But they finally let us through, and so I've always been leery about going across the border.
Oh, my heart races.
Yeah,
every time.
But we went through. Elaine went to Point Roberts. She got this thing about Point Roberts.
Okay,
I don't know. But, so her and Natalie went up there in the summer and had a great time just during the day. And so I told her, I said, for her birthday, I said, I'll take you up there. So we went up there and it was a piece of cake. And I'm well past the point of worrying. What are they going to do? Are they going to throw me in jail for nothing? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But it was fun. We had a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, so you had that band first, and then did you start having kids after that? Took a pause on.
Yes. Well,
music?
the band kind of fell apart because
the Navy guy.
We didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I actually kind of went back to playing guitar, but with the kids were. I think they were in they were still in grade school.
And so you have what are the order of all your kids?
Josh is
the oldest.
Yeah. And then Lacey was 3 years behind him.
Oh, okay.
So he's 47.
Okay.
I think, and she's 44.
Yeah.
And she teaches she doesn't teach. She's a school psych at Cedar Woolley. Oh,
okay. Yeah. Cool.
But, so we were kind of involved with their sports and that kind of stuff. And I kind of quit playing for a long time, maybe 6-7 years. And then I started playing guitar again, and I was working, and I was running a router, and with a roundover bit in it, a big roundover bit, and somehow I got these 3 fingers into it, and it pretty much was down to the bone.
Oh my gosh!
And I thought, oh great, So the doc he looked at it and he said, well, there's 2 things. You can either sew them to the heel of your hand, and then cut that loose in 3 weeks or whenever, and it was skin grafts.
Oh.
Or I can put this iodine cream on it. And we used to eat iodine when I was a kid. It was like like a orange liquid you put on there that would sting like anything. And so this cream, he put the cream on there, and I'd every couple of days I'd clean it up and put more cream on it, and it grew back a bunch of the skin and the meat. Yeah. Which just blew me away. But I couldn't play guitar. It was too hard. It was too hard to play guitar. The mandolin worked fine. It was, because there was 2 strings, and it had a little lower action. And
is the mandolin only 2 strings?
Well, they're 2 courses, rather than 1 big string.
Oh, okay,
right?
Okay.
There's 2 little strings together. So there's 4 courses of 2 strings each.
Oh, okay,
There's 8 strings.
Yeah.
So I got back into playing mandolin, and then there was a jam in town that I go to once a week.
In Concrete or Cedar Woolley? Yeah.
Concrete, yeah. So then, and then Josh said, you ought to sit in with us a bit. So that's pretty much how I got into Bare Feet.
Yeah, so Josh started Bare Feet. What year?
I don't know. You'd have to...
Because you said it's been going on for over 10 years.
Oh, he and Ray started. That's probably been...
Well, let's say...
They were just out of high school, not too far out of high school. So it's...
I was going to say, were the boys born yet?
25 years. When they started?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
okay, just little?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, how old are the boys right now?
Gibson's 26.
Okay, he's the oldest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so man, 20 years? Yeah.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
And so I know that there's quite a few members of Bare Feet. Is that how it was at the beginning too? Like, has it always been just this big?
Well, it cycles.
Was it supposed to be a rotating door,
It is.
Revolving door.
Yes.
I can't wait for my turn.
Well, it's fine with me, but I'm not the boss, right? You got to go through Josh with that. No, we've had all kinds. Zach he played with us for a couple of years.
I heard that. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. We had a great time. He's just a ball of fire, man. It's like you never know what he's going to come up with. We got a show at Tony V's garage.
Oh yeah, that's in Everett.
In Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got down there about 6 o'clock. And we walk into this place, and there's chicken wire up. And I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. This is like the Bob's Country Bunker in the Blues Brothers. So, what's going on here? So we didn't end up playing till almost midnight, and it was a hard rock and roll. It wasn't our kind of venue.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure how we got into doing it, but
and this is Bare Feet?
This is Bare Feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we had a pretty good crowd, but it was a lot of our friends, came down, and I think Jesse and Holly were there. They had stopped by.
Oh, nice.
They'd come back. They were on their way home from somewhere, and they stopped in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an eye-opening experience.
I was just thinking, like, places, I wonder if do they ever book you not knowing how many people are in your band, and then you guys show up, they're like, wait,
yeah, mostly,
is there like 8 of you?
Yeah, no, mostly we haven't been playing out, other than places close by.
People that know you, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it really, the COVID really, everybody took a hit after that.
Yeah.
And it's just not been the same.
Yeah. Like I said, I was asking around about you, and I text Andrea. She was kind.
Of course she
didn't
is.
tell me.
She can't
I know.
help but be kind.
Oh, people tell me that they love my laugh. I love Andrea's laugh.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh man, there's so many. Could not have asked for a better father-in-law, or now just my pops, but he'll always be my family no matter what." And she said, when we were younger and living with Jim and Elaine, if Jim wanted to have a conversation about something, he would say, "Can I talk to you in the kitchen?"
Oh, no.
And we know we'd done something. It became a long-standing joke. So whenever any of us wanted to talk, we'd say, "Can I talk to you in the kitchen?"
Oh, that's funny. I had forgotten about that.
It's funny how little things like that just kind of stick.
How they stick with how people see things differently, the same thing, from different points of view.
Yeah.
we had a number of kids that stayed with us when the kids were in school, and some of these kids had nowhere else to go, and we've got a big house, so I was a little worried that she would rat me out about my look at 2 o'clock in the morning that something was going on and I wasn't happy about.
Oh, that's
but
funny.
we'll leave that.
Yeah,
leave that. She's too nice to bring that up.
Did you guys always just have music on in the house?
Yeah, but it wasn't. When I was young, we had one big stereo.
Oh yeah,
and lots of vinyl because that's all there was.
Yeah, not because it was cool. It was just that's all there was.
That's what it was. Yeah, and it was like do not touch, right? And the vinyl was all it was like Duke Ellington, Benny Goodman, Dave Brubeck. Just a lot of that kind of a lot of big band, and so that's what I grew up listening to. And then when I think I was probably in the 5th grade or something, I got a little transistor radio, and I could pick up WINS from out of New York City, and they played Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly, and that was my first exposure to that kind of music. But I really wasn't. I didn't pay much attention to music other than on the radio a little bit.
Yeah. When your kids were young, like at your place, did you play?
Oh yeah. We played a lot of old country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I just love.
It was really cool on my radio show when I had Scott Story on with his daughter Raven, and I saw her requesting some songs when Jack had his show. And I was like, "Raven, you have a good taste in music. You want to come on my show?" So she came on, and it was really cool because she would, share a good song, and I'd say, "Oh, how did you hear about this song?" It's kind of older than you. And she's like, I just remember so many of her stories were just sitting on her dad's lap watching YouTube videos, and he would just show them to her.
Ah, sure.
And I thought that was really cool. Yeah. You never know it's going to stick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's Josh. He started playing guitar because I used to play for him when he was just a little kid. I just sit there and play, and you just sit there and look and listen.
When did he pick it up?
He was probably a teenager. His taste in music at that point was quite a bit different than mine. More AC/DC and there was a couple others that he listened to all the time. But yeah, it was. But then he started playing, going back to acoustic guitar. So
is Lacey a musician as well?
No. She likes music. She loves music. She loves to dance, but she doesn't play.
Yeah.
She's so busy. It's crazy. But
and she has kids too?
Just the one now.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Well, speaking of musicians, like I told you, I was asking around about you. And Wes Jones, he said, Jim is everything I wish my grandpa was. And I'm going to cry. Incredibly supportive and loves his family to no end. No blessing like being told to break a string from our favorite local musician grandpa. I was going to ask, what came first, break a string or break a leg?
That morphed out of break a leg.
Okay.
And I used to tell Josh that when they were playing, when they first started Bare Feet, they'd have a show, and a lot of his shows were down below, and they start at 9:00, and so we didn't do a lot of their shows. But I'd tell them, I'd say break a string, for good luck.
Yeah.
And so I kind of spread that out.
That's your calling card now.
Let other people. But then you get drummers involved. Like I got to tell Andy break a stick, and I'm not sure if that's
I also passed on that Jeremy Hub story to Spencer, and he says, "I remember that day like it was yesterday."
Well, he was our mule. He was packing everything up and down.
I want to ask him about that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's funny.
We should hire him for Undecided.
So who's in that with you?
Jeff Marr,
okay,
plays bass. Richard Lewis on the guitar. Andres, basses.
Oh, okay.
Plays fiddle.
Yeah. And
then Michael McClaskey is the percussionist.
And how did that come about?
Actually, Miguel and I were jamming together because I had kind of gotten into playing swing music from the 30s and 40s, and mostly with this friend of mine that used to live up here, Jordan Schaefer.
Is that like Glenn Campbell or Glenn Miller?
Glenn Miller.
Okay, yeah.
Big band stuff.
Yeah.
But nobody else around here would play that. And Jordan lives in Texas, so he'd come up because he's still got family up here. So he'd come up here and we'd jam for a few days, and then we'd go play the radio station, or we'd play, the Woolly Market or something. So I was into playing that kind of music, and I forget where I was. I think maybe at the winery just outside of Concrete, and they'd have music. We played there 3 or 4 times. But I was hearing Miguel, and he was playing I don't know, an old jazz song, and so I talked to him about that. I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I play some old swing music and gypsy jazz and stuff." And I had been trying to learn some gypsy jazz tunes, so he came over to the house quite a bit. We jammed for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then we were going to play down at the farmers market in Woolley. And I had run into Jeff, who used to work at the school, and he told me, he says, "Man, I really like you and Jordan playing there," because he would listen to the radio station.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so he says, I said, "Well, that's cool." I said, "What do you play?" He says, "Bass." I said, maybe we should jam together, So he came down to the farmer's market, and he brought Richard with him, who I had played with on a Valentine's show at the radio station for Christie. Richard and John Bromett, Peace Wizard.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, and they were on right after me, and so I sat there and listened to them, and then she said, "Well, why don't you guys sing, something that you all know?" So we sang a couple songs, and it was all love songs. You couldn't play anything else but a love song, which was awesome. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I had played with Richard before, so we kind of, the three of us started playing after that. And then Andres was over at Richard's house and said, "I want to sit in with you guys." So he just kind of melded in with the rest of us, and then we ran into Michael, and he came over to Jeff's house. He had some mics he wanted to us to check out, because we were trying to get away from setting up a whole bunch of equipment.
Yeah.
And Jeff had a conga there, and so he just sat in on the congas, and so it's, well, yeah, we need a percussionist.
That's awesome.
That was quite a while ago. We've been together for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years.
Oh, okay.
Least. Yeah.
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 And is the name just because you couldn't figure out what to call yourself?
Bingo.
That almost sounds like
everything else. Songs, how to arrange them and everything. It's never been a problem. But
yeah. So where'd you get this? This is your mandolin? Where'd you get this one from?
This is.
Did you make it?
No, I did not. It was built by a guy named John Metzger locally.
Yeah.
He lived in Mount Vernon, and I had him build it in 1987, and this is the only mandolin I've really played. And I don't know, it was a while back. Michael said, he was looking at it. He goes, "Where did you get that?" So I told him, who built it and where he's from. He goes, "That's my cousin."
What?
I said, "Well, that's pretty cool."
That's great.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So, when I met Jack,
yeah,
there wasn't anything special. It was just like, he's this star, and I was just a guy playing in the band, and he's just real easy to get along with. He's a good listener.
Yes.
He's a real good listener.
Yeah.
And he's a smart guy too. You wouldn't think that. You look at, not that there's anything wrong with the way he looks. I love the way he looks. But he knows all these songs that I've known since I was a kid, because I grew up with him. He's such a good songwriter and musician that he could go a lot of places if he really wanted to. And I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, he's where he needs to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to do one that is it's a Lefty Frizzell song.
Okay.
And Lefty Frizzell was kind of a contemporary of Hank Williams.
Okay.
But I don't think he wasn't as popular, or he didn't have the publicity or whatever, but he was kind of in that era.
Yeah.
So let's see what always late with your kisses. Won't you come to my arms, sweet darling, and stay always late with your kisses. Why, oh, why do you want to do me this way? How long do I have to wait when you know I'm always late? Always late with your kisses. Why, oh, why do you want to do me this way? How long do I have to wait when you know you're always late? Always late with your kisses. Why, oh, why do you want to do me this way? Why, oh, why do you want to do me this way?
That was great. Is that a song that you, like, the whole band plays? Like Undecided or no?
That's just something that I play on my own at the house. I think Jack's played it with me. He knows it. It's one of those that, hey,
the power couple.
Yes, I think I like that.
Do you have any good stories about Jeremy?
I don't know him that well, and I have really not sat down and talked with him or anything. But I love what he's doing. I'm so happy that he brought the hub back, because I first stepped into the hub probably in 1972, and it was a fun place. I mean, it wasn't. There was loggers and hippies and everything in between, and it was fine. There was not, there was the occasional fight, but it wasn't over, anything big. It was just,
yeah.
Oh, you bumped me, Let's go outside and settle this.
Yeah.
But it was always a great place to go, and there was music. There were the jam sessions there. They would have bands in. And then subsequent owners, Fred and Dorothy Bianchini owned it when I first got in there. And then they sold it to Tingstrom's, who had a store next door.
Okay.
And she was a piano player. So she'd play the piano all the time, and you go in there and you could sing with her or play with her or whatever. And they had, they'd have jam sessions and bands in now and again. So it was always fun. It was a good place to go. And then it kind of changed to more of just a drinking spot. And now it's nice to have, the kids are allowed in there. It's more of a family spot now.
So yeah, I definitely have to talk to Bill from the BBC.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other recommendations? Feel free to throw them my way. So Dusty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Dusty besides I actually thought Dusty wasn't real. Your headphones almost fell out. Have you ever
he is about as real as you can get.
Well, have you seen Fight Club? With Brad Pitt,
yeah,
and
I might have.
It's just
some of it.
So Edward Norton is the main character. He's kind of this nerdy guy, and he has this he has this best friend named Tyler Durden. But at the end of the movie, you realize that it's almost like his alter ego. So Tyler Durden's not real, and so when I first met Jack, he'd talk about Dusty for months, and I'd show up somewhere and he's like, oh, Dusty was just here, or
left.
Dusty's supposed to come over or something. And he'd show me a picture, show us one picture, and it was just the exact same person. Like, they look very similar, right?
They look very similar.
And I'm like, Jack, I don't know. What? I'm like, so I kept calling him Tyler Durden.
He's making him up.
So one night we were leaving the hub and he's like, oh, Liz, hey, this is Tyler. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're real. And then actually
Dusty knew about the story? Or
I don't know if he knew. I think he was a little drunk. He was like, what? Okay, Tyler?
No.
But when one of my first trivia nights, my second summer, I remember Jeremy, Jack, and Dusty got a table right up front. It was a packed house. I was like, don't sit there. You guys are going to bug me the whole time. And man, Dusty got almost all the answers. He is really smart.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went to a Birdsview trivia, which is hilarious. Watching Bill and, is it Sarah?
Yes.
Bill and Sarah banter back and forth. I said, I need a co-host. This is so cute and hilarious. And it was I think we were marking each other's papers. Dusty, I think it was Dusty. I want to call her Blondie. I forget her real name.
Oh, Jessie.
Jessie, and I think Dusty's girlfriend, Sally.
Well, I think it's Melissa, but Jack calls her Sally.
Oh, yes.
Sally. Yes.
I thought her name was Sally.
I did too for a long time. I'm not sure of this.
So Sally, Blondie, and Tyler were all on a team. Yeah. And we were marking each other's, and it was almost like we were neck and neck, and I was like, Dusty's on that team. He's so smart. Yeah. So, yeah. And I don't, besides him doing really well at trivia and being friends with Jack, I don't know anything about him.
He knows all these old songs.
Does he?
And it's funny because...
See, I didn't know he was a musician.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah. He was in Stepdads. I heard they were in a band.
Yeah.
The two of them.
He was also in Bad Chuck.
Oh, yeah.
And he always says, you're the one that turned me on to Guy Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
Aw.
So I like that.
We should probably end on the words that Miguel wanted me to share on air. See, look at all the caps. There's so many caps. I know.
Does that mean he's shouting?
I can't tell. I think he is. Yeah.
It's not like Miguel to shout.
I can't read this.
Should I read it?
No, I'll read it.
Okay.
He's the biggest piece of crap I ever met.
I'm honored.
Coming from
Miguel. He knows a lot of people. And to be number one.
Yeah, number one.
Number two.
Oh, there's more. He's selfish, dangerous, doesn't take care of himself, always in harm's way, smiles too much, mandolin suck, doesn't mind his business, calls everyone a young man. I'm tired of him. And his glasses stink.
Oh, now that's a low blow about my glasses. I take umbrage.
Everything else.
I take umbrage at that.
He also uses fancy words.
Well, no, that's kind words from Miguel.
So you must have met Miguel because he was friends with the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't remember meeting him, but I've just known him forever.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know he was that good of a musician for a long time.
Yeah.
But he used to sit out. Him and Spencer used to sit out in front of Albert's and jam I think Spencer must have been working at Albert's, and when he was on his lunch break, Miguel would come out and sit with him. And Spencer plays mandolin.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah.
So they would sit there and just play, just for the fun of it.
All right. Well, hey, Jim, thanks for coming.
This has been great.
Yeah?
I really appreciate this.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
It's fun.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I'll see you on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
With our NPR voices.